to the Foreign Report, your weekly foreign policy show that gives you the gory details of geopolitics with hopefully some laughs along the way. Those are coming few and far between these days. I'm Seena Ghaznavi, your foreign policy curious host. With us in the virtual studio is co-host, comedian, director, Columbia Journalism School grad, Travis Irvine.
The hat is back. Greetings from Ohio, gentlemen, where the rivers flow freely when JD Vance wants them to.
And with us is the co-CEO of Last Podcast Network, No Dogs in Spade. Last podcast on the left and getting the poison out today, Marcus Parks.
Oh, I'm here, Texas Tech graduate.
Oh, there we go.
And aren't there some wonderful things happening there right now?
We should do like a Monday Night Football thing, like Marcus Parks, Texas Tech.
Texas Tech, creative writing degree, unfortunately, from a technical college. Real smart fucking planning on my part. Yeah, I'm getting the poison out. I'm here. How you doing, Seena? How you doing, Travis?
This is crazy. Every week is a fire hose, and if you want to join the fire hose and figure out what is on our mind during this fire hose, sign up for our newsletter, foreignreportshow.com. Send us a voicemail to theforeignreportlpn@gmail.com. Love the people that are joining the newsletter. Love the comments that I'm not reading. Love all the things that I'm not looking at on YouTube. We're recording this on Wednesday, September 24th. Jimmy Kimmel just came back live last night.
Yeah.
I wanted to, it's not like you made like a speech about Charlie Kirk, but I did want to like check in. I am curious. You know, obviously The Office has been a buzz. About talking about this. We did, for those that probably watch the show, we did like a 15-minute thing on it where we talked about, our reactions to it. And I think that still holds. But how have you been experiencing this, especially as someone, by the way, that is like, on the bleeding edge of freedom of speech? You guys do really, I don't want to say edgy, but you guys do very brutally honest material.
It's, I wish my parents would have called.
Oh, damn!
It's like somebody in your profession gets assassinated. Like, you'd think your parents would call and say, like, how you doing? It's terrible. I mean, the whole thing was terrifying from beginning to end. It hasn't stopped being terrifying. It hasn't stopped being concerning. I don't know if I can really say much about it that hasn't already been said, because it's all anybody's been talking about. But, somebody getting, killed, for free speech is, of course, don't support it. I think that goes without saying.
Not going out on a limb there.
Yeah, not going out on a limb there for saying that, against that. But the reaction to it has been even more terrifying. Because, at the end of the day, when you look at what the Charlie Kirk assassination actually was, I think, me and Henry agree on this, that it was troll-on-troll violence.
Yes.
Like, it is what happens when the internet reaches out and, becomes real life, when these things come together. We're starting to really see, not starting to see, I mean, I say this every time. We're starting to see.
This is the first time. Yeah. No, this
is a further continuation of what the internet is doing to our brains and what it's doing to our social interactions and how we interact with each other and how we respond to each other. But what's happened since then has been even more terrifying. It's been even crazier because, they're using this as an excuse to crack down on speech that they don't like. And this has never happened before. Like because when after Charlie Kirk's assassination, I was thinking like, okay, we're not in the 40s. Everyone's saying that we're rhyming with the 40s. No, we're rhyming with the 60s. Mm-hmm. And then when FCC Commissioner Carr came out and gave his mafioso speech on a fucking podcast.
Oh, wait. Yeah, there we go. Yeah.
Once he did that, I realized, this is new. Because in the old days, when you look at the 60s and the sort of free speech battles that people had back then, the 50s, the 60s, Lenny Bruce and all that, it was really about saying the word fuck. It was
Yeah.
about obscenities. It was about a newspaper printing saying the word goddamn too many times.
7 words you can't say on TV.
Yeah, that's a lot what a lot of that was about. But this is, the first time that you've had the government actually come out and take action against somebody for political speech. And it's terrifying because when you have that paired with Trump's his other proclamation, which and I think these two things go hand in hand with each other, and they're going to sit right beside each other in the future. Him saying that Antifa is now a terrorist organization, because the thing is that Antifa, as we all know, doesn't exist. Like the Antifa, as people think of it, as the right-wing conspiracists think about it, Antifa does not exist as an organization.
I keep trying to sign up for the Antifa Substack. I keep finding nothing. There's nothing around. I keep looking for a listserv. Nothing.
Absolutely nothing. But the thing is about that is that because it doesn't exist and because there is no actual Antifa, that means that they can decide who Antifa is. They can brand anyone as Antifa.
Well, technically, we're Antifa.
I guess so.
We are against fascism. And so I guess that means we're Antifa.
Technically, which and that means
And by the way, is that scary to say?
Is it scary to say technically we are Antifa?
Yeah, because
no, it's terrifying to say.
It's a little weird.
It's 100% terrifying to say. In the last week, like I for the first time in my life, I look at people. I look at my fellow Americans, and I don't know what they're thinking.
Yeah,
I don't know. Like I don't know. It's like, is this person one of them? Is this person going to be one of those like the people who are informing? Like we're starting to get informants. We're starting to have like that's the climate that we're in now, and like looking at people like it and wondering like, is this person in the future going to be informant? Is this person going to look at me as an enemy merely because I disagree with them? That's new in America. I've never felt that in my entire fucking life.
And I think
once.
one of the things that you mentioned, this is like the 60s. I think one of the ways that you can distinguish it from the 60s is the flavor of the authoritarianism that we're experiencing is that the police are not directly going and arresting a comedian anymore. Now the levers of authoritarianism are economic.
Yes.
And they can apply pressure. And that's never really been tested, right? They've never really tested, if you just turn the gears of the administrative state against a private company, does that count as abridging speech? And that clearly we all feel it and we know that that's the case. And frankly, let me just play this Ted Cruz clip because, Marcus, I have to say, you sounded a lot like Ted Cruz just now, which is something I am so happily saying.
Texas in the house.
I say
Texas.
you people from Texas, and I mean that in a very derogatory way, sound all the same.
He's Canadian.
Boom. There you go.
And so listen to Ted Cruz on his show, which, by the way, thank me later for going directly to his YouTube show to pull this clip. Here's Ted Cruz talking about Brendan Carr's interview where he talked about the exact issues that we're referencing here.
Look, I like Brendan Carr. He's a good guy. He's the chairman of the FCC. I work closely with him.
There's a bug
But
coming.
what he said there is dangerous as hell.
For people that are listening, because this is going to be, quote, controversial, so I want to make sure we explain it clearly.
Quote.
When you say no and it's dangerous, explain and run this out, the slippery slope that this can open, so that people understand.
Now, Ted Cruz gives a little context here, which I think is important because it takes care of me giving the context. And Ted Cruz, for all of his evil, did go to law school. He is a lawyer. He is smart. And he's just very evil. But listen to what he says.
So the Federal Communication Commission is in charge of granting broadcast licenses. So ABC, NBC, CBS, they have licenses from the FCC. It is true that under statute, they're required to be in the public interest.
Yep.
What he is saying is Jimmy Kimmel was lying. That's true. He was lying. And his lying to the American people is not in the public interest. And so he threatens explicitly, we're going to cancel ABC's license. We're going to take them off the air. So ABC
TBD on that lying thing, okay? But the rest is true.
And I got to say, he threatens it. He says, we can do this the easy way, or we can do this the hard way.
Whoa, hold on. Great impression work from Ted Cruz. Wow.
I'm sure you guys are very aware that Ted Cruz believes he's funny, right?
Yes!
That this has been a problem for Texans for a long time, that Ted Cruz believes he's very, very funny.
Yes.
Oh, my
And
God.
he thinks he's an actor. He does the whole act out of a scene in Princess Bride, I believe.
I have watched that clip, I believe, 30 to 40 times. It's him and Mario Lopez. I don't know why Mario Lopez is interviewing Ted Cruz. He sees himself as a bit of a thespian.
It is unreal
Yes.
to hear him say that. Okay, great. Great job, Ted. SNL needs some casts members, so...
And I got to say, that's right out of Goodfellas. That's right out of a...
You didn't need to tell us that. We knew, Ted. We knew that impression was so good, we knew that was right out of Goodfellas.
Nice bar you have here. It'd be a shame if something happened to it.
Okay, hold on. Stop
wait
the
a
tape.
minute.
Stop the tape.
Nice.
He reverted back to his Billy Crystal impression from the Princess Bride story. He only has one voice.
That is the worst impression.
I understand. Jimmy Kimmel has mocked me so many times I cannot count. The corporate media, they are dishonest. They are liars. I hate what Jimmy Kimmel said. I am thrilled that he was fired. But let me tell
Wasn't
you,
fired.
if the government gets in the business of saying,
What you
we
can and
don't
can't
like
say.
what you, the media, have said, we're going to ban you from the airwaves if you don't say what we like. That will end up bad for conservatives. It reminds me of, you and I are both fans of The Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
J.R.R. Tolkien.
Yeah.
It reminds me of like the Ring of Power. And it is so attractive. It's sort of like conservatives are saying, wait, if we have government, we have power.
Yeah.
We can ban the media. Let me tell you what will happen. Going down this road, there will come a time when a Democrat wins again. Wins the White House.
They will
and
get
the
rid of
next
every
Democrat
talk show host in
FCC,
America that's a conservative. They'll get rid of every podcast. They'll get rid of
they
everybody
will
on YouTube.
silence us. They will use this power, and they will use it ruthlessly.
No, they won't. No, they won't.
No.
No,
We got other shit to do.
like it's but the Ted Cruz.
Yes.
because that pisses me. Because that pisses me off so much. Because what he should be saying is that this is un-American. Not, oh, think of what it could be done to us and how the levers of power could be turned against us. He should be saying that they shouldn't be doing it because it's wrong and it's against the Constitution. Because this country, what's the point if we don't have free speech in this fucking country? Because the way it's looking right now, the whole point is just to make money. And I know that's the way it's always been. I know America's always been corrupt. I know that's always been the point of us as a capitalist country. But at least there was the pretext for the longest time. But now you have the FCC, you have ABC. ABC chose money and profit over free speech, over the Constitution. And this is what Ted Cruz is worried about. He's just worried about his side getting later on down the road, when he should be concerned with free speech in general, just the Constitution itself.
I wish you would be honest on this show. I don't understand why you gotta hold back and you're
The
just
Texas
not
preacher
sharing
is
what
in
you
the
feel.
house. I love
Yeah,
it.
it is
Texas Tech versus University of Texas right here.
He
Texas Tech
had-
wins again. That's a creative writing major right there.
He had a chance to just say the American thing.
Yeah,
And it's just, instead he's like, well, what they're gonna, it's like the whole filibuster thing. Well, we take it away, then they're gonna use it. It's all this constant back and forth, this adversarial thing. When this is, for me, and what seemed like, again, part of the twilight zone of doing this show is that you have some of these conservatives like Tucker Carlson and then the Ted Cruz are like, wow, this kind of makes a little bit of sense there. But then they always turn it in some way that's like, oh, we're just building the battle lines again.
Yeah.
And then we're shocked when there's political violence.
Yes.
When the people in power keep talking about the war and about the battle between right and left, and then we're like, oh, there's another shooting.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's just more fear mongering. You could hear, and also you can hear how scared they are.
Yeah.
Like you could hear that his co-host. You could hear is like they're going to take away every podcast and every conservative show, and it's all going to be gone. It's all going to be over. It's like no, that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
It's never happened. It's never even been attempted to happen, and I don't know why they're so obsessed with it.
The thing that I was thinking about over the last week was when the right, and I think a lot of people on the left as well, they were very upset that the Biden administration was sending notes and requests to Twitter to take out or take down certain posts about COVID and about vaccines and things like that. I totally understand the outrage for that. Whether it was true or not, that's not the role for the government to play in going and telling Twitter what to do.
Sure.
You know what would have been nice? Maybe someone could have told Twitter not to show me the brutal murder up close when I just opened the app. I just wanted to read. By the way, Twitter's a text-based source, right? I'm not supposed to be inundated with all the visuals.
Yeah.
Okay? I yelped when I saw. I was like. And I'm a Faces of Death kid,
Yeah.
okay? I watched all kinds of crazy things when I was young that should not have seen. I'm too old for this stuff now.
Yeah, I didn't really want to see it either.
But anyways,
But the different, like the Biden administration, did the Biden administration go to Twitter and say, "Hey, if you don't take this
Exactly.
stuff off, then there's going to be retaliation,"
So-
or did they just say like, "Hey, it would be a good idea if you would take this misinformation and disinformation off your platform"?
so I think the difference between the way Democrats roll and how Republicans roll is that Democrats will try to form the argument, and they will send a lot of arguments to you, and they will send a lot of paperwork to you, and they'll kind of tie you up in like that whole thing.
Yeah, and nothing will get done.
And then nothing will get done. And then Republicans will be like, we've kidnapped your family. If you want to see your daughter again, take down these tweets.
There has never been a better political joke in all of history than the Stampy the Elephant episode of The Simpsons, where the elephant runs through the Democrat convention and the Republican convention. The Democrat convention said, "We can't govern. We hate life. We hate ourselves and life."
Yeah.
And then it goes to the Republican convention, and the signs say, "We're just plain evil." Like that's it. That is the fucking Democrats can't govern. Republicans don't give a shit.
And I think you're at this point now where you're seeing, and we've talked about this competitive authoritarianism, this flavor, and this is why I don't like it when people even compare Trump to Hitler. It's like this is economic authoritarianism in a way where they are just really changing the rules very quickly, moving fast, taking advantage of the judicial process, right? I think I read that there's been over 100 Trump policies that have been overturned by the courts, right? He's released over 300 executive orders. So it's like, sure, great, you stopped a third of them, let's say. He's still pushing so fast that they can't possibly keep up. And that's the whole point.
Oh, yeah.
That's the ball game.
Yeah, that's the ballgame. It's governing by tweet.
Yeah.
It's just sending out as much shit as possible. It's flooding the zone with shit. That's Steve Bannon all over. It used to just be flooding the zone with shit with information, and now it's flooding the zone with shit with executive orders and legislation and things that actually affect our lives.
Yeah, and I'll just add on to all of this, and I'm sure other people have made the point, right? The whole idea of Charlie Kirk was he was a free speech guy, right? A First Amendment guy. So the fact that he was killed because of someone's Second Amendment rights, of course the Republicans only go after the First Amendment rights for the people they don't like. They're not touching the Second Amendment. That never happens in these scenarios. And that's what's so bonkers about it to me is, wow, well, Charlie Kirk got shot because of his free speech. We better curb free speech.
Yeah.
Not guns, not touching the guns. It never happens with the guns. They never use that argument that you guys brought up about, well, what if they do it to us when it comes to guns?
Yeah, the Second Amendment needs to go. You can keep your guns. You can go have a gun, but it shouldn't be on the same level of political speech.
No.
It's absurd.
Or like we talked about the other week, well-regulated. It's literally in the thing, well-regulated. So please, any regulation would be great.
So a lot of this stuff that happened with Kimmel, centered around, the Sinclair Broadcasting Group and Nexstar Media Group. They both own large numbers of ABC affiliate stations. So they're also not playing Kimmel and stuff. And Nexstar is especially sensitive because it has a pending $6.2 billion merger with Tegna that needs FCC approval. And so kissing the old, not kissing the ring, sucking Brendan Carr's toes is what I'm going to equate this to.
Well, that was the whole
do
point.
this the easy way or the hard way. Bada bing, bada boom. I'm Ted Cruz over here.
Well, that was the whole point of it, because the FCC's not going to pull ABC's fucking license.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy. That's not going to happen.
That's an easy court case to lose.
Yeah, that's a very easy court. Yeah. They're not going to pull ABC's license, but they can gum up this massive merger that's going on, and that's what it was about.
That's the Paramount thing was the same thing.
Yeah.
That's why he had 60 Minutes. All these people started leaving 60 Minutes. They paid that bribe. I mean, this is just, for me, there's a part of me, and I put up this cute little video of like snowflakes and Trump's face on my social, because I do feel a little nervous. Honestly, it's weird. I feel more nervous talking and saying that we're Antifa than I did talking about ethnic cleansing in the Gaza Strip or being critical of Israel at this point, because it's like, I don't know, it just seems like there are people out there that will report you and just try to out you immediately.
Yeah,
and it's scary a little bit.
And it is so strange because last week in our JD Vance corner, so rarely is our JD Vance corner actually predicting what happens in our next episode, right? Usually JD Vance, it's a lark, he's a joke, but we played that clip of him saying, no, we're coming for you. We're coming for your jobs. And I think someone pointed out in the comments on our Spotify that, boy, that JD Vance corner I usually enjoy it, but it was actually terrifying this time. And it turns out it actually predicted everything that they've been doing in the week since.
Well, in the week since, it hasn't just been about the FCC. The UN General Assembly has happened. So let's take a quick break. And when we come back, we could talk about what a fargan mess it was this week in New York City.
Your escalator's broken. What do I do?
Have you never listened to the Mitch Hedberg bet? Sorry for the convenience.
Temporarily stairs.
For Marcus Parks, Travis Irvine, this is the Foreign Report. We'll be right back after this. Welcome back to the Foreign Report. I'm Seena Ghaznavi, Marcus Parks, Travis Irvine. We're all talking about foreign policy. Of course, domestic policy is foreign policy. When the news is terrible, we do our best to make it bearable. Oh my God. The United Nations, we're celebrating the 80th birthday. The United Nations is 80. 80. Thank you, United Nations. What a mess this was. By the way, I love New York City. So happy I don't live there right now during the UNGA.
UNGA is always the worst.
The worst.
Yeah, your entire
Avoid
week's fucked.
Midtown. Avoid Midtown at all costs.
And then you just have these foreigners in suits walking around with earpieces. There's always a story about the Iranian delegation beating someone up. At least that's my algorithm. It's always just some Iranian American protesters hey, fuck you, and then they just get beat up real quick, and then the police are we can't do anything.
Diplomatic immunity. What do you want me to do?
Ted Cruz is gotcha. Anyways, so they came down 8 decades of the UN General Assembly. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres, pardon me. I hope I pronounced that right. He was look, the world is once again facing the same questions our founders did. This time the stakes are higher, the crises are more interconnected, and the risks are more unforgiving. What I like about his statement in general was that no matter how much people want to retract from the rest of the world, it's impossible.
You can't.
Everyone is a globalist. I am a globalist, and I'm very happy about it. But everyone is, because you can't. Look at the clothes you wear, the phone that you have in your hand. Everything is interconnected. Everything, the supply chains. If COVID taught us anything, there is no, it's just us.
And it's been connected for decades.
Yes.
Decades upon decades. It's been since the 90s, even the 80s, it's been interconnected. I don't know why people, and it's becoming more interconnected every single day.
Every single day. And then if you notice, Trump, so there was a couple things that happened. So Trump did his speech.
Wait, how did he get up to do his speech?
Exactly. Before he got to his speech, he hit the escalator, and Melania walked on, and then Trump was following, and then within like 1 second, this thing stops.
Woo!
And
Love it.
immediately the internet's like, well, the United Nations. I think I saw a thing where Jesse Waters is like, let's bomb the United Nations or something awful like that.
Great.
I wish that man has bad hangnails and stubs his toe every single day for the rest of his life. I hope he gets like a little bit of water in his ear after every single shower and can't quite get it out for the whole day. I hope all of those tiny quality of life things that are bad happen to him. I don't wish physical harm to him, though.
No. I curse you with minor inconvenience.
I hope, like, in New York, when you're walking to Fox, I hope you step in one of those puddles that looks really shallow, but is actually super deep, and it goes up to, like, your mid-calf. I hope that happens to you.
Yeah, I hope you're late to work and you get stuck behind 4 tourists who are walking shoulder to shoulder.
Yes! Four wide tourists on 5th Avenue, 6th Avenue?
Wow. During the UN. You ain't going nowhere, buddy.
Yeah, you're stuck behind the Uzbekistan delegation? Yeah.
They don't know where they are.
So let's play a clip from Trump. Oh, by the way, the escalator thing, someone from his team hit the stop button.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Like, this is always how it is with these guys. The call is coming from inside your house, sir. That is where the call is coming from. It's not a conspiracy. I watched it and it was like, oh, it must be like a weight limit overload as soon as Donald Trump stepped on emergency stop. But
And the teleprompter snafu was also his team's mistake.
The White House ran the teleprompter.
incredible.
By the way, Seena Ghaznavi, producer, that's bad producing.
Yeah.
That is bad producing. We don't screw up teleprompters. Okay? We don't do it. Don't call us.
We don't use them either.
We don't. We also don't use them. All right, let's play a little clip from our man here. Here's Donald Trump at the UN. I always loved the green marble backdrop, by the way.
I hate the green marble backdrop of the UN. It's like a cheap hotel.
Oh, it's like a Carrera effect. I love it. You could take a shower on it. Okay, here we go.
I ended 7 wars.
All right, let's pause it there.
You sent
Right
this clip
away.
you sent this clip to me earlier, and he said I ended 7 wars.
Yeah.
What the f*** is he talking about?
We covered this a few weeks ago because this is not the first time he said this.
I always
7
revert
wars?
to my same joke about I ended 7 wars today. 1 was in my belly. The McDonald's was fighting the Wendy's, so I pooped him out. That's a war.
I don't understand. I don't even know if I can name 7 wars in this entire century.
So Armenia, Azerbaijan,
Okay.
which he cannot pronounce, he got the leaders to sign a joint declaration, which I think one of them didn't sign. They just agreed to, not a peace deal.
That's
Don't worry,
war.
there's going to be Azerbaijan still occupies areas of Armenia, so he didn't really end anything there.
One war down.
Congo and Rwanda.
that's figured out. Yeah.
Totally solved.
By the way, and
War two.
rest assured, folks, we're going to cover the Congo, which is like so bad right now.
Right now,
It's
been so bad for 40 years.
It's so bad. There's really crazy stuff there. India, Pakistan. He's taking credit for mediating that like near nuclear fight that happened. Which, by the way, like India is furious. He actually claiming that he did the peace treaty there, or he made the ceasefire happen. Basically, drove India into China and Russia's hands. So that was good. Israel and Iran. He said that he was the one who ended after 12 days. That's great. I'm sure that's definitely that's
all
great.
done.
Cambodia and Thailand. There were several days of fighting that killed at least 42 people and displaced more than 300,000, one of the bloodiest conflicts between them in decades. They were just, he says, the trade deals that he negotiated led to the ceasefire. That always happens. Yeah, that did not really solve anything. Egypt and Ethiopia did not engage, were not engaged in a military conflict, but there were fears of a diplomatic dispute between them over Africa's largest hydroelectric dam. and they've done little to solve that dispute.
That's 6. Here we go. Number 7.
And Kosovo and Serbia in 2020, the two nations signed an agreement to pursue economic engagement in the Oval Office, but no peace agreement between them. So
7 wars right there. 7 wars.
I don't think he knows what the number 7 means. I don't think he knows what wars means. I don't think he knows what the word ended means. So, okay, that was the first 3 seconds of that clip.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sure we won't stop this at all for the rest.
In all cases, they were raging with countless thousands of people.
Okay, as we just said.
Just covered. Just covered.
Absolutely wrong. All right, let's move on.
No president or prime minister, and for that matter, no other country has ever done anything close to that. And I did it in just 7 months. It's never happened before.
But I thought you did. But one of those wars you said was 2020.
Yeah. They started way earlier, and he's saying that he's negotiated all of them now.
That he's done it this term.
He
but
picks up the phone and talks to it like an ambassador. He's like, solved it.
And he doesn't. He just never has gotten how much people humor him.
Yeah.
But how much other foreign leaders just humor him. He has never gotten that.
He's never figured out. Also, he has no shame. So it's like you could just say all of these things.
Yeah.
Frankly, we're wrong. We're the ones who should be. We're the ones who are losing at the end of this stick over here. This guy's just saying I should be saying, as we always, the one thing we do here is that we say that we are the pause. We said the number one manosphere podcast for foreign policy. So that's
that I had to do these things instead of the United Nations doing them. And sadly, in all cases, the United Nations did not even try to help in any of them. All I got from the United Nations was an escalator that on the way up stopped right in the middle, and then a teleprompter that didn't work. These are the two things I got from the United Nations, a bad escalator and a bad teleprompter. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you for your polite, humoring laughter.
You're welcome. If it was me, I would have turned the escalator into a slide. That would have been better.
And the audience is just like crossing their arms like, how long do we have to fucking listen to him?
Boy.
It kept going. It was an hour-long speech, boys.
God damn.
I tell you, man really loves the stage. He'll be in the dirt, and you'll just hear like,
Playing
you're like, isn't he dead? I thought he was dead. He's like, no, he's still talking. He's still talking. Okay, here's another clip. God, this is awful. It's when he's talking to Europe. Okay. Sweet Europe.
Sweet Europe. Wonderful
We love
Europe.
our
Love Europe. I've been to Europe many times recently, and I love it every single time. I've had an incredible time.
Okay, here's another clip of him saying really nice things about our, the strong allies that we have in Europe.
I love Europe. I love the people of Europe. And I hate to see it being devastated by energy and immigration. This double-tailed monster destroys everything in its wake, and they cannot let that happen any longer. You're doing it because you want to be nice, you want to be politically correct, and you're destroying your heritage. They must take control strongly and immediately of the unmitigated immigration disaster and the fake energy catastrophe before it's too late. It's time to end the failed experiment of open borders. You have to end it now. See, I can tell you. I'm really good at this stuff. Your countries are going to hell.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
Okay. So
Wow.
I've been to Europe multiple times. Like, thankfully, through like a last podcast, we've done a bunch of tours. And, I only started traveling around 2016. So really all I have comparison is like traveling in Europe while Trump is president or Biden at certain points. But what I noticed is when I'm in Europe, there's this feeling that we have in America, this tenseness that has been here, that's been in this country since 2016. It doesn't exist over there. Yeah. Like, it goes away. You don't have that feeling, that vague feeling that something's wrong. You feel more comfortable over there. Like, I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. Like, that's going to hell. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not.
I think when the countries are so old, they've been around for so long, I feel like there's a sense of time, right? And that I feel like we live in the moment here.
Oh, yeah.
So much because we're such a young country. These other people, the Italians, I mean, they're like, hey. If it's us and Ted Cruz, it's fine. Forget about it. So there was also another clip of President of France, Emmanuel Macron, getting stuck in traffic like every other New Yorker that day. And he was literally trying to cross the street to go give a speech. And this is a clip of him. I love this so much. He calls, I wonder if does this have the phone call in it? Let's see. He calls Donald Trump while he's at a barricade, and he's talking to an NYPD officer like, what's going on here? How can we get through? And listen, I don't want to besmirch the intelligence of this police officer. Does he know who Macron is?
No.
Does he just think he's like a guy from, Queens? Like a...
We can do this the easy way or the hard way, pal.
Yeah. So here he is, which is like, this is the most New York moment ever.
How many people? No, I have 10 people with me. I go to the French embassy.
No. I'm sorry, President. I'm really sorry. It's just that everything's frozen right now. There's a motorcade coming late. That's why.
I'm sorry. If you don't see it,
I'm sorry.
let me.
I'm sorry.
I negotiate with you.
No, it's not that.
How are you?
He's calling President
guess
Trump
what?
now.
I'm waiting in the street because everything is frozen for you.
What? Are you sorry? That's because it's one good thing you know.
I don't know. It's still 3 or 4 in the afternoon. But I would love if we can. Yeah, I know. I would follow. But after I would love if we can have a short discussion with Qatar and you on the situation.
This is the way foreign policy is conducted now, folks. I would love it if we could talk about Qatar because they were just bombed. And I'm pretty sure we all told the Hamas negotiators to go there, and you let the Israelis bomb them. Okay, fantastic. Listen, I'm going to grab a slice. I'm going to go to the UN. And then he goes, by the way, walks to the UN, goes and gives a speech and says, we recognize the state of Palestine.
Wow.
And it's like, whoa. I mean, that is a power move.
I mean, I do want to give that cop credit for believing that guy when he said he was the president of France.
I'll give you that.
And sorry, Mr. President, but, you're just going to have to wait. It's frozen. What are you going to do?
Yeah, what can you do? Hey, everything in this town freezes for Trump when he's here. Your escalators, teleprompters, traffic, whatever. What do you do?
I want to do a couple more stories here as well before we go to a break. First, Trump said he sued the New York Times for $15 billion in a defamation suit. Judge Stephen Merriday, who is a George H.W. appointee, so not a liberal judge by any means, the Trump people submitted an 85-page complaint, which, complaints can be long, sure. 85 pages, though, is very long.
Yeah.
Is insane. A complaint should be, when you start the complaint, you itemize all the things that you're complaining about, and you draw basically textual lines to the laws that are broken so that it's very clear for the judge to say, okay, this is their, say it with me now, complaint. Trump's team spent the first 80 pages, 80 out of 85, just attacking the New York Times and saying how great Trump was, called the Times a hopelessly compromised gray lady, and the judge was not happy.
Flooding the zone with shit.
Totally. That takes, think about the paralegals, the assistant, all the, the judicial clerks have to read all this stuff.
Yeah.
And they have to comment on all of these things. And so the judge was like, this is improper. It's impermissible. He gave them 30 days. He said, go rewrite an actual complaint, and he capped them at 40. So he didn't throw out the case for everyone to know, but he did tell them to refile in a month. So that's news there.
Yeah, but that tells you that's how they're governing.
Yes.
They're doing everything they're painting everything with the exact same brush. They have one tool, and they expect everybody else to care. Like they expect everybody else to care and have the same amount of vitriol and like, oh yeah. Well, yeah, the New York Times, I guess it is awful. I guess if you do just yell at me for long enough, then I am going to believe you when you say this shit. And it doesn't work that way.
Also, what has been happening with all the things that you were just saying, right? All of the things that like people, they think people care. They think people are happening. But at the end of the day, all of these things are starting to blow up in Trump's face. Let's look at this poll from the AP. Pessimism among Republicans spikes for the first time since Trump's second inauguration.
Woo!
So,
Finally some good news. All
I'm going
right.
to try to describe it for the audio listeners. Basically, I love these negative polls. My negative polls, the hate index is my favorite type of way to look at politics.
Yeah.
I don't like favorabilities because you could be like, but like, you're negative, you are clear. You are very negative. I feel like it's a better indicator.
Well, that's what they say, is that if you really want a great relationship, you don't find the person that likes the same things that you do. You find the person who hates the same things you do.
Wow, that's a really, really good point.
Whoa.
Wow.
That's what I've
That's
been
another,
doing
that's a
wrong. Hold on.
podcast. The hate that connects us.
Writing it
Okay.
down right now. Thank you, Marcus.
So if you look at Republican pessimism, was really high just before Trump got into office. And then their pessimism plummeted when he got into office, or when he won the election, and then he got into office. And then you could tell even when Trump was inaugurated among the Democrats, pessimism dipped slightly because a lot of them were probably like, hey, you know what? Let's give this guy a shot. You're idiots. Sorry, I respectfully. But with the Republicans, starting in just the last month, pessimism has doubled.
Yeah.
Doubled, okay? We're in the 26, it's at 51% pessimism among Republicans right now. Of course, Democrats are at 92. The country is upset. Things are too chaotic. You can't keep doing what the people were saying in the beginning, right? What? Short-term pain, long-term gain? Did we define what short was or what long was?
Or
Did
what
anyone?
pain is?
Or pain. He ended 7 wars, though, guys. Last bit of this block, in a comment that I did not read, someone asked about positive news. And you know what? I want to be giving positive news sometimes. Is that
Yes.
okay?
Yeah, of course
Oh,
it is.
please. We all need
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I'd love some.
In Wales. Do you know about Wales?
Yeah, it's part of England.
Yeah. I think Wales...
Corgis come from there.
Corgis come from there. Okay. This is
They make wonderful cakes.
And then they're kind of independent. They have like their own parliament. They're like kind of doing their own thing, but they're like part of the United Kingdom. And then like, they have to be serviced from the, it's a very interesting case. But it's also a very old place as well, which I also find interesting. Again, as an Iranian, I could not tell you how little I know about Wales.
Yeah.
It is so dramatically little. But they do have an Elvis festival that is happening right now. Let me share this with everybody. An Elvis festival is happening, which is like, talk about domestic policy as foreign policy. Look at this. All of these Welsh people are all in Elvis get-ups. Drinking beers.
Yeah.
They're having an amazing time. They've got rides, American flags. This is beautiful. So we'll put the link to this. We'll put the link to this in the episode description so that you guys can also take a look at it. I think I also wanted to bring this up to say that as a child, there was an art teacher that used to do Elvis impressions, and I loved it so much.
That's nice.
And he would do the lip.
In Pittsburgh?
In Pittsburgh. And his name was Mr. K, and I was trying to remember what his full last name was. And the only last name that kept coming up for me was Mr. Kaczynski, which I don't think
I don't think it's Mr. Kaczynski.
it's like it's not Kornacki, he's from MSNBC, but it's like something like Zinsky, but like I don't think it's Kaczynski. But I taught myself to do the lip.
Wow. Wow.
Come on now. Come on.
That's
And I just would just hold my lip up when I was a kid just to train myself to do this Elvis impression.
I don't know why, but this is disgusting.
Isn't it weird?
It really disturbs me when you do it.
Right?
I don't like it at all.
It's weird.
You should do that to your children as punishment.
We don't punish.
great.
Gentle
That would be
parenting, we
great.
don't punish. We don't punish.
All right,
No, that
all
would
right.
be great. They piss you off. You're like, I'm gonna get Elvis on you.
I'm gonna lip up. Don't make me get the lip up. I get that lip up.
She's so weird. So there's your good news and some disgusting news about your faithful host here as well. All right, let's take a break. Wow, that was action-packed there. Let's take a quick break, and when we come back, it will be the JD Vance Corner. This is the Foreign Report. See you in a second. Welcome back to the Foreign Report. I'm Seena Ghaznavi, Marcus Parks, Travis Irvine. We covered Charlie Kirk. We covered UNGA. We did some news about New York Times.
We did New York City.
We did
Hey,
New York City.
I'm walking here. Oh, I'm not walking. The UN's in town. Okay.
We covered a lot today. And now we go and do our JD Vance Corner. JD Vance.
Give him a chance. He's JD Vance. No, wait, he sucks. That's our theme song. And unlike you, Seena, I read the comments. All right. And I've heard people loud and clear. Last week's JD Vance segment, like I said before, it was too real.
I didn't see that as well.
An ominous warning. And luckily for everyone, JD Vance has shut his fucking yapper. And it's all Trump news this week. So I am going to play something that I saw on the your favorite website, Seena, Twitter Now X, that apparently this is back to where I am in Ohio. JD Vance's hometown, Middletown, Ohio, which really is representative of the working class culture. It was a steel town. That's how JD Vance's family ended up there in the first place. And in perfect JD Vance fashion, it is so polluted right now that people are having to clean their cars with toilet bowl cleaner to get them clean. Yes. Now I am going to show you a perfectly, you know me, journalism major. I love local news. Still got a soft spot in my heart for pure local news, folks. This comes from a news station out of Southwest Ohio. Let's roll that beautiful bean footage. I just want to get you guys' reaction here.
Okay.
Our lovely news reporters.
And business owners of one tri-state city are speaking up after years of pollution from the operation of a nearby steel plant.
Wait, can I say this is a local news? This anchor in the red just has her phone casually next to her, like she's like gonna get a text from her friend.
Exactly.
She got two phones there.
Her pop socket's even out. That means she's been picking it up between the commercial breaks and answering texts.
And she's kind of pointed like away. Usually they're kind of faced on the diagonal toward the middle of the table. I don't want to critique these two too much. This is bad producing.
This is why I'm telling you guys. This is classic local news. Guess which one's the veteran and which one's the intern. Okay.
Okay, here we go.
It's coating area businesses and vehicles with property-ruining residue.
Local 12 Investigates James Pilcher joins us
right,
now
get
live
ready.
from Middletown with how it is impacting one nearby business. And it is a story.
This man is in a gray suit with a black fedora, but not tilted in any sort of fedora fashion. It's almost like his head is too big for the fedora, with a black collared shirt and a very, what would you call that, iridescent purple tie?
It looks like somebody, like, when you're making a character in a video game and you press randomize.
Oh, yeah.
And everything's all fucked up and nothing matches. That's how this guy's dressed.
This guy looks incredible. He's going to like a swing class afterwards and then going to a swingers party after that. Okay.
We all know, hold on. We all know the swingers love Middletown, Ohio. Nothing says swinging. I love it, yes, because this is what you learn in journalism, especially broadcast journalism, is don't dress so distractingly that you distract from the story you're trying to report, sir.
The mise en scène of this shot is incredible.
He looks like the painting where he should have an apple in front of his face.
Please,
You know what I mean?
we should just make this the thumbnail for this week on YouTube.
totally
Please
down.
go to our YouTube channel
Shout
and
out
watch
to
this.
News 12. All right, let it roll. Let's see what he's got to say.
Here on Local 12, James.
Yeah, what the fuck is up?
The operation in Middletown's massive steel plant here behind me creates a lot of waste materials in making that final product. Actually, big piles of it are right across the highway just over there. But even state regulators say that stuff gets into the air and then settles back down on area buildings and cars. Now area business owners and residents are speaking out after years of trying to stop it from falling from the sky.
Oh, no.
And then we have to make a chemical reaction
Stop it.
to actually
Check it out.
remove this.
Check it out.
If it has this stuff on it from there, it turns white like that.
Okay, so he just put, the toilet bowl cleaner that you use on your toilets at home, literally the exact same bottle. He sprayed it on a windshield and it foams. And what he's saying is if it foams, that means you have poop?
Steel poop.
Steel poop?
Yeah.
Steel poop.
What?
Yeah, it is. That's the thing, man. And this stuff is in the air, and it's so heavy. That's what it looks like on these people's cars in JD Vance's
Okay, this is very
hometown.
sad.
Let it roll. No, let it roll.
Okay.
Let this guy finish. Let him.
Demonstrating how he uses toilet bowl cleaner to remove
cook.
residue
There
from
you go. Now
vehicles
it's
at
good.
his Middletown Car Connection auto salvage business.
Oh, yeah, baby.
It's right next to the Cleveland Cliffs Steel Mill.
Look at that.
Formerly known as AK Steel. And near one of the mill's
God.
vendors that uses trains and trucks to remove the slag and other materials created in making steel. Baker says he used 2,000 bottles of the cleaner over the past year. It's the only thing that works on the lime-based material settling on vehicles all over his lot that sets like concrete.
I'm tired, I pay people all day long.
I'm sorry.
That's what I'm saying. I want you to get to this guy. Let the man cook.
Oh, my God. I'm
This is-
so tired.
JD Vance's cousin twice removed or something like that.
Oh, my God. I feel awful.
Good.
Including myself to sit here and just constantly toilet bowl clean everything.
Baker's
All right,
operated
all right,
his
let's
business
get
for
it.
more than 24 years.
We can cut it. We can cut it. This says everything you need to know about Donald Trump and JD Vance's America, ladies and gentlemen. This is Middletown, Ohio, Steel Town. I'm going to give you a little bit of backstory, boys, just to clarify what's happened. Cleveland Cliffs owns that steel plant in Middletown now. And they were supposed to, under the Biden administration, get a huge environmental grant that was going to make it all clean energy and not have this very problem that they're having now. And guess who canceled the environmental grants from the EPA? The new Trump administration.
Obama.
JD Vance.
Oh, sorry. Okay, got it. Oh, sorry. That was Obama.
It's
Okay,
exhausting, but when you see it all and you put it into context, again, this town voted overwhelmingly for JD and Trump, and this is what they're getting, baby. Get out your toilet bowl cleaner, kids, because it's time to clean some windshields.
Not just toilet bowl cleaner, but man, I hope they enjoy having all that fucking steel dust in their lungs.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. How does this make you feel, Marcus? You've been a guy that's been, dealing with lung stuff for a long time.
Bad. It would be like I'm pretty good now. Like I'm actually pretty much over it. The long COVID's pretty much gone. But Jesus Christ.
Well, don't do a show in that town.
Not going to Middletown, Ohio.
Oh yeah, I booked us. I booked us a show in Middletown, Ohio. Got Ken
And
on
I
the
have to go.
phone.
Just
We
do
are
it with
booked.
gas masks. Oh my God. I have to say, we laughed a lot about that. That is incredibly sad. And again, we are the wealthiest country in the world, in the human history, and we allow this to happen.
Well, that's why we're the wealthiest country. Because that's the thing. Is that if you look at the wealth, because everyone always says the wealthiest country in human history, that wealth is concentrated in a very small number of people, and it's concentrated in the types of people who own that fucking steel mill.
Yes.
That don't have to do any of that don't have to bring their profit margins down ever so tinily slightly, so a fucking child doesn't have to breathe in steel dust.
Well, that child has the freedom to breathe that in.
Yes.
That is true. That is true.
But it's a very good point about how domestic policy turns into foreign policy again, because union towns, they were union towns, always voted Democrat. And because of Trump, the owner, to Marcus's point, of Cleveland Cliffs became a huge Trump supporter just in the last few years. So here we are.
Wow.
Breathe up, kids. Come on.
Travis,
Eat
I thought
that
you were going to
steel
do,
dust.
considering last week you were going to do something positive. I thought it was going to be like a funny.
No, I wasn't just going to play JD Vance's dumb voice for the first time. I still only have depressing news. This is the news from JD's hometown. That should make you happy.
Oh, heavens. Okay. Well.
Just think about that guy's hat. How about that?
Yeah, okay, we'll think about the hat and this incredibly mismatched outfit.
Oh, God, that's crazy.
And I dressed like shit. Like I'm not a fashion man in any way whatsoever. But god damn.
That's Incredible. Marcus, anything, closing thoughts, feelings,
Yeah.
concerns?
Just keep fighting the good fight,
Yeah.
ladies and gentlemen. We all got to do our part.
There's this whole thing with H-1B visas, and Trump wants Bagram Air Force back. We'll cover that next week because those are evergreen stories, I think, that will not be going away. We'll probably mention those in the newsletter. Again, foreignreportshow.com. Sign up for our newsletter. theforeignreportlpn@gmail.com. Send us a voicemail. Check out our YouTube page. Please like and subscribe and all that wonderful stuff. And post a comment that I won't read it. I won't. I don't look at it. I don't look at any of them. Marcus told me not to look.
Yep.
So I don't look.
He's taking my advice.
I'm a good boy. All right. We'll see you guys next time.